Look, if you're like me, then you probably sometimes struggle with knowing what section to use next on your website and what layout and how it's all going to fit together. Well, I'm going to share with you a secret that took me about 8 years working across 27 different industries, across 3 different continents, building websites full time to work out. And that is that there's essentially just 5 different sections that pretty much every single website uses in existence, just with some variations. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Figma up and draw these out for you. So let's get started. So we're in Figma and I'm literally going to draw these out with you so you can see just how easy it is and how it all works. So the first section we're going to talk about is the single column section. And what this is literally, as it says, a single column, which means in the section that you're using, only one line of content is shown. You don't have content next to each other. It just comes down normally in the middle, but it can also be left aligned or right aligned. For this purpose, we're going to go center. So this is going to be something like your title and then written content and then maybe a call to action. The most common places you see this is in the header. And also if you just need to provide some like hard hitting information in the body of your page. For example, it could be another call to action. The next most common section is your 2-column section, which, as it suggests, is 2 columns. So one group of information and then another group next to it. This can be any information that you want. It can be just paragraph text, it can be titles, paragraph, button, anything like this. This is perfect if you're expanding out on, say, services where you want to have a big lot of information supported by a really nice graphic, then this is the way to set it out. The other thing you can do with this is reverse it. So instead of having your text on the left and your image on the right, you can have your image on the left and your text on the right. And that creates this nice flowing grid pattern that allows the user to navigate quite far down your page very smoothly. So again, this is most commonly used for expanding on larger ideas, for example, services. The next section that you'll use is what I like to call a scrolling banner. This doesn't have to scroll, but normally it's quite a narrow section height wise, and you'll have, for example, logos coming across the page, and then you can either click through or have it just scroll automatically, or you can just have it static. And this is typically really good for showing companies that you've worked with, suppliers that you have, maybe features and benefits, anything that can be shown as just like a small icon or logo. This really works well for. Going on from here, the next most common section is I don't want to say it's a feature section, but it often comes up with that. But it's a way of grouping different information under the one title. So as an example for this, we can say services. So this can be your title, and then it looks like a grid of information below, with each section of information obviously distinguished from the rest. So this can be with a border, it can be with shadowing, it doesn't matter as long as each box is differentiated from the rest. Now, the way this can work is as services, so we do website design, digital marketing, and software development. So this title would be services, and the content here would be website design, a little information, CTA, digital marketing information, CTA. Or, for example, it can be used to distinguish between different features that you have. So it could be an icon with some text, it could be an image. For example, this box could be an image with text, and then a button down here. So this can all go into these squares, but the important thing that I want you to remember in this is the fact that it's grouping information with a grid pattern below. Again, you don't need to use 3 across. You could do 2 across or 4 across or 5 across, as long as the information fits. So you can then just play with that as you will. The final section is your tab section. So what this looks like is a box, if it wants to make it a box for me, and then you've got tabs across the top. And what happens here is when someone clicks on this one, it opens up information in here. You could have images, you can have text. If they click on the next tab, it scrolls through to more information. This is also really good for displaying a lot of information in a very small space, where space is real estate on a website. So the more you use of it, the less of it you have. It's not infinite, because at the top of the website, it's worth more. So if you need to get a lot of information up the top, then you could use a tab-like section. The final thing that I wanted to show you is the fact that you can really manipulate these sections once you get comfortable with them in unique ways. So for example, if we go back to the top section, which is this single column section, you can use this and implement other features in it. So what I mean by that is you might have a frequently asked questions section, which is in one column. You'll have a title, you might have some written information, and then you can have different frequently asked questions in an accordion. And that again is still exactly the same section as above, but you're implementing just additional functionality into it. So once you get comfortable with this, you can really start to play with it and develop unique websites, but just using the basic foundation blocks of a website. So if I scroll out, even just looking at this kind of looks like a wireframe for a website, and we haven't even put any information in. So there you have it. Master those fundamental building blocks and have fun building websites much easier in the future. If you liked this video and it was helpful, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.